Hello there! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuskeh Talks. Another episode, another week, and a few more things to talk about. So, I hope you enjoy it, and here we go. So, we'll start a little bit with some games I've been playing this week, and it's really not that interesting, I'm afraid. So, I've started playing a little bit of Nosgoth, which is a kind of free-to-play, third-person team online multiplayer shooter thing. I started playing it with some guildies. It's an early release at the moment. It's an early access. It's a beta, I believe. So I did have to pay for it. A friend of mine, Ellie, was able to acquire keys for everyone except myself because the keys got buggered up. So I just paid like $5 and got into it myself. And it has been quite a lot of fun, I have to say. It's very team-based. You play as either a group of vampires or a group of humans. And there are 2 rounds and you swap teams each time. So, as the humans, you have a lot of ranged weaponry, a lot of synergy between the different classes you can play, and you kind of work together to defeat the vampires, because if you get caught one-on-one against the vampire, you're pretty much dead. And as a vampire, you kind of work as a team to try and separate the humans with things like smoke bombs and acid clouds, and you can play as a flyer who can pick people up and separate them from the crowd of people, so it's quite well balanced. I think it can be a little bit unfair at times, because there's no real matchmaking, so we've been put up against people that are like level 40 and we're level 2, and they're just like, oh yeah, I have a bow that one-shots people and I never miss with it, so things like that, you know. But, you know, that's just all kind of, you know, free-to-play, multiplayer online shooters, all that stuff. That's normal. But it is still a lot of fun to play as a team, so that's that. Another game I've been playing, a lot of, has been Arcade. Now, before you get all panicked or you get all excited, I am playing Arcade, which is a Korean MMO which has been ported over to the West and translated and all that. And it is kind of a sandbox MMO. So you have all these different things you can do. You can get involved in guild politics. You can actually, you know, you can build homes anywhere, castles. You can go sailing. You can kind of trade things, and there's stuff. I don't know the game that well. I'm still learning it, and honestly, I wish I wasn't. I'm playing this game for Curse Gamepedia. This is one of the MMOs they want me to cover. It's kind of a new big up-and-coming MMO, so there's a lot of potential views in this, apparently, so that's what I'm rolling with. So I've been leveling up in Arcade, which has been taking a while. Well, more than a while. I'm trying to aim for 5 levels a day, and it's getting increasingly difficult. I believe I'm level 25 at the moment, and the maximum level is level 50. So, not too far to go, I'm about halfway there, and hopefully next week I will be done and I'll be level 50 so I can show off all the different classes, because thankfully, Arcade has a skill system where you can just pay a little bit of gold and then respec your character, so I don't have to make 10 versions of the same character and do it 10 times, which is good, but still, I'm not a big fan of Arcade. It's a little bit backwards in my opinion, but I mean, it is just my opinion, and this is my show. This is where I do opinions, so if you disagree with my opinion, take it for what it is, my opinion. I'm not really an Eastern gamer. I've never been into anime or kind of all kinds of things like that. I just haven't been. It's not really my thing. So Arcade, definitely I would say a step out of my comfort zone, more like a leap, but that's okay. It's got pretty good combat. The combat is okay. It's very generic in terms of how it's done, but there's some nice combos to be done. I'm not a big fan of how they deal with mana. It takes for frickin' ever to regenerate your mana, which means there's a lot of downtime, which I don't like at all. But it is designed to be a free-to-play MMO, so I suppose that's just a way of padding out the time. But I could rant about Arcade forever, so I'm not going to. That's just what I've been playing this week, and that's probably what's going to be playing in the background at the moment. If I get bored with it, then I'll put some WoW on instead. So, as for the channel itself, there are a few updates to talk about. So, first of all, I have ordered an arm for the microphone. Not an actual arm, kind of a boom stand. Think a great big arm made of metal that you can clip to the side of the desk, and you can clip your microphone to the other end of it, and it will hold it. And you can kind of move it around whenever you'd like, because at the moment I've got my microphone on the desk, which has a few downsides, because first of all, it's very difficult to see my screen while I've got my microphone in front of my face. Second of all, if I hit the desk at all, then it goes through very clearly. And third of all, it's not so much of a big deal when I'm in this position, but when I'm doing something like WoW Live, if I don't want to have the microphone like this, which inhibits the way I play, then I'll have it off to the side, which means that you can hear the clicks of my mouse and the sound of my keyboard, which I don't really like. I think that ruins the audio quality a bit. And of course, there is always the problem that, you know, I could put this too close to my mouth while I put it here, and you get all the big pops and stuff like that. It just reduces the audio quality. So having an arm for this should hopefully help. I can get it in a good position that I can keep it in for as long as I want, and then that will all be nice and sorted. I'll spend a lot of time sorting that all out. That should hopefully arrive today or tomorrow, so that's good. And if it doesn't arrive on Saturday tomorrow, then it should arrive on Monday in time for the Tuesday videos. So that's all good. What else? Going to continue doing WoW Live. That's been going very well. I've been enjoying that. We're going to move on to the Throne of Thunder soon. But other than that, I've been fairly busy because I have a big-ish video planned. It's kind of a big video. I'm going to start talking about lore. Now, this has been something I've been thinking about because I'm a big lore nerd. And I was just thinking maybe I could get into that. Maybe I could do that kind of thing. I mean, I know there are channels out there that do lore probably a lot better than I could ever do it. But really, at the moment, I'm just trying to find things to do before Warlords hits. Because when Warlords hits, as I've discussed in the last Tuskeh Talks, then things are going to go haywire. I'm going to be really busy come November. So I'm just kind of experimenting with all kinds of different videos at the moment. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But I'll enjoy making it. Because it's a video about the trolls. And the trolls are my favourite race. So, that kind of segues us into our main topic for the day, lore and story. Now, hopefully you know what lore and story is. Now, story itself is the story that you go through as you play a game. So, for instance, if you play something like BioShock, it would be the story of Booker DeWitt going through the city in the clouds and all the stuff that happens there. If you were playing World of Warcraft, then it would be about the story that you experience while going through quests, the kind of world story with the Revolution at the moment, with Vol'jin and Garrosh and Thrall and all the other different characters, and just going through it. That's the story. Lore is the background story, the kind of the stuff that has happened. It's the world that you live in. So, for instance, if you go to Ashenvale, the lore is what is around you. You've got the big, massive forest and all the different night elves there and their history of it, and the orcs that have spent some time getting there. Because, for instance, before Cataclysm, Ashenvale was all night elf dominated. Well, mostly. And now come Cataclysm, the orcs have started to move in, and they've chopped down some trees, and they've come under attack and all that stuff. There's a war going on in Ashenvale now, and that's an example of lore. You don't see the war start, you don't see the orcs start to cut this stuff down, you just arrive and that is the lore, that is what's happened. And then afterwards, the story is what you get involved in and what happens next. So, I love lore, and I love story. I'm huge nerds for them. I play a lot of games solely for their lore and story. A good story can make a game for me, and a bad story can destroy one. Although I do play games that don't require stories. I mean, I enjoy things like The Binding of Isaac, FTL, Faster Than Light, all kinds of different kind of arcade-ish games like that. But I have a very big soft spot for lore and story-intensive games. And I would say World of Warcraft is a lore and story-intensive game, because WoW's story is huge, and it started a very long time ago with the Warcraft RTS games. It's a massive, massive story that spans worlds and loads of different times, periods, and in my opinion, it's full of very interesting characters. You see, a lot of World of Warcraft's initial selling value for a lot of people was seeing the world that characters that they knew, big characters like Thrall, Arthas, Uther, etc., seeing the world that they actually lived in its entirety, not just like, oh, here is a snippet of it, here is the actual world, the entire world, everything. That's the whole idea of it. And that had a lot of selling value, because those characters, Thrall, Arthas, Uther, things like that, they had a lot of potential. They were very much loved, because they were very well voice acted, they were very relatable characters. I mean, Arthas' story is tragic, but also one of the best the Blizzard has ever told, in my opinion. And going to that world and seeing it all was a massive part of it. Over the years, it's kind of moved away from that, but that being said, there's still a lot of that in the game. A lot of it. It has moved on, and World of Warcraft is now the story of Warcraft, which is one of the unfortunate reasons why Warcraft 4 probably won't ever happen. Although, goodness me, I would love that. I would love to just have Warcraft 3, but with Warlords of Draenor's graphics or StarCraft's graphics. That would just be lovely. It would just be lovely. Anyway, so let's talk about lore and story. So this stuff starts from the minute you start questing, the second you make your character, all the way to the end of the toughest progression rating. Think about it. So let's say you make a troll, because why wouldn't you? Then you start on the Echo Isles. The very first thing you hear is the narrator giving you all the information about the trolls, getting you set up, talking about the Darkspear trolls and how their tension with the Horde has kind of reached a peak and how all that stuff has happened, right? And the very end of Siege of Orgrimmar is Garrosh's defeat, and that's another cinematic where you see the story unfold in front of you. You see Vol'jin become Warchief. You see Varian and Jaina discuss whether or not to dismantle the Horde. You see Taranzu take Garrosh away for trial. You see that. That's the story. Of course, the original narration that I talked about just a few minutes ago is the lore. You hear about the lore, and then you move on and you do the story and you push forwards. So that's always there. That's been an underlying facet of the structure that is World of Warcraft. If World of Warcraft is a great big building, then the lore and the story is the framework. It is what holds a lot of things together. Without it, WoW would be kind of boneless. It wouldn't have anything in it. Which is a little bit of a shame because a lot of new MMOs have been skimping on lore. Again, I'm going to mention Arcade, which has convoluted lore up the butt, but, you know, that's my point. WoW is in a great position because it has so many characters, so many different things to do in it, and there are so many different stories to explore. And Blizzard have really taken advantage of that, and I'm really happy that they do. It's one of the reasons why I love this game so much, because it does lore very well. So, lots of people know the lore of World of Warcraft. I mean, there's a reason why the cinematic trailers are all lore intensive. I mean, you've got Deathwing coming out of the Maelstrom, you've got, for Warlords of Draenor, you've got the old Gul'dan and Garrosh and Grom and all that stuff happening. And it's all kind of lore moments, very intense lore moments, and Blizzard know that people like that because there are still a lot of Warcraft veterans that play this game. I mean, I'm one of them. And despite that, I think so many people underestimate the lore and story of World of Warcraft, and this is something that I think so many people suffer from. Immersion. Immersion is important in MMOs, right? It's very important that when you play a game for as long as you play WoW, I mean, you can play it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, you need to kind of believe that you're in the world. That's very important, and you can achieve that through lots of things. You can achieve it through having beautiful landscapes filled with characters that are actually doing things, that have good stories in them, that feel believable, that have great music and ambience, all that stuff. It needs to be there, but so many people ignore it. Lore and story is a great way to create immersion, and loads of people ignore it. I mean, I've been doing it with my alt, with my Fury Warrior, because, I mean, I suppose I can be a bit of an exception here, because when I first play WoW, every time when I go to an expansion, I listen to the lore and the story all the way through. I never turn the music off, I never turn the sound off. I play it slowly, I enjoy it. And that's what I'm going to do with Warlords of Draenor to a certain extent, and this is something that so many people don't do. And if you haven't done it, then I recommend that you actually try it sometime. Because part of the excitement for me, one of the main reasons why I'm not spoiling Warlords for myself, is the lore and the story behind it. You know, the characters and their story arcs, what they'll do in Warlords of Draenor and how it'll affect Draenor. People like Thrall, Vol'jin, the various Orc warlords, all kinds of different characters that I know, and some of them that I love, are going to be involved in this, and I want to see what happens. And I thoroughly suggest that you put yourself in a situation like this, because it will just make you even more excited for Warlords of Draenor. But, I mean, there is a lot of lore in WoW. It's a massive, massive game and a massive story. So, if you're at all interested in this, if what I've said sounds just a little bit interesting, I thoroughly suggest you try to get into the lore and the story. Now is the perfect time to just sit back, relax, and watch the story unfold. Create an alt, take your time with the quests, read them all, get steeped in the lore, and learn about the history of the world, the lore of the races, the classes, the professions, and the factions. Understanding it will help you enjoy the game a hell of a lot more. Any more life you can squeeze out of this game will be of great value during this period of downtime that we currently have. So take your time, read everything, listen to the music, get immersed. Sure, deck yourself out in heirlooms if you want, but even if you outlevel something, take the time to finish the stories, take the time to finish the quest lines. Just getting the achievement for doing, 100 quests in Zone X doesn't mean that's the end of the story of that zone. Try to finish every single quest you can, because especially with Cataclysm's overhaul of the quest system, there will normally be some kind of story payoff. Normally. Sometimes there won't be, but a lot of the times there will be. And it's a great way to learn about the characters, because there are characters everywhere. Let me give you an example, okay? This is a character that Blizzard made in Cataclysm. His name is Tony Two-Tusk. He's a troll, of course, and he's a pirate. You first hear of him in the Barrens, during the Horde leveling experience in the Barrens. You're in Ratchet, and you're doing some quests for some pirates and stuff. Well, you're doing some quests for Ratchet, and you're fighting pirates and humans and stuff like that. And you hear that there are a whole bunch of pirates on Frey Island. So you go there, and you talk to a rebel pirate, someone who is willing to help you overthrow the captain and his men. He's called Tony Two-Tusk. So you help him gather weapons, you help him defeat the captain, and then he takes the ship and sails off. And you think, okay, that's just a nice little story arc that ends the Ratchet story. So you move on. And then, when you're in the Thousand Needles, you find a great big piratical outpost full of South Sea pirates. And you go and you free some of their prisoners, and you find out that the leader is Tony Two-Tusk, and you're told to go kill him. And for me at least, I was like, oh, that's a bit of a shame, but he has a key that we need to unlock the chains to free this guy, so let's go do it. So you go there and you kill him, and it's a nice little neat boss fight. He like jumps in chests and stuff. That's kind of cool. And then you end him, right? And he's like, no, the world is mine, and he dies. And that you think that's the end of it. And so you go out, and as you walk out of the cave, his ghost appears. And he's just sitting there, and he follows you, and he haunts you, and he's like, no way. You just killed me for a key. I'm bloody haunting you, right? And he keeps haunting you until your character is basically just like, okay, what do I have to do to get you to leave me alone? Because he doesn't shut up. He just sits there and rants in your ear. And he says, if you resurrect me and bring me back to life, I'll leave you alone and pay you back one day. So you do that. You go to his ex-wife. I know, right, trolls. And she helps you resurrect him. She's a witch doctor, so you do all kinds of different voodoo. And then he's resurrected. He lives again. He thanks you for the help and runs away. And you think, okay, that could be the end of the story as well. But then, far into the future, several patches later, the Rage of the Firelands comes out, right? And you're sitting there trying to defend Hyjal from fire elementals. And there is a certain quest there where you have to fight elite fire elementals that require a group. But as you go there, the quest gives you a team of 3 druids and a character. Now, this character could be anyone from all of the different stories that go through WoW. One of the potential candidates that can join you each day, because this is a daily quest, is Tony Two-Tusk. And he'll come there and he'll be like, hey, I told you I'd pay you back. And you fight together. And you go through it. And you enjoy it. And for me, that was brilliant, because that was a character arc of just a character they created that started as just a named mob that you just help out do a quest. Then he became a boss that you just quickly kill, just a little boss for a quest that finishes it. Then he becomes a quest giver again. And then he comes and helps you as an ally. And if I wasn't paying attention, if I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just breezing through this and I didn't pay attention, that moment would have meant nothing to me. He would have appeared in Hyjal, being like, hey, I told you I'd pay you back, and I'd just be like, who the hell are you? I don't know who you are. I'm just gonna do my daily quests. Fuck it. And that sucks, because so many people do that. So many people do that. And there are examples of this all over WoW. Did you know that General Nazgrim, one of the bosses in the Siege of Orgrimmar, has been a Horde quest giver for 3 expansions? He started in Wrath of the Lich King in the Grizzly Hills. You help a guy called Sergeant Nazgrim, or is it Legionnaire Nazgrim? I think it's Legionnaire Nazgrim. No, Legionnaire is above Sergeant. Yes, so Sergeant Nazgrim, and you help him find a dwarf called Bran Bronzebeard. He starts the Ulduar quest chain. And you help him find him, and eventually you convince him that this dwarf needs to be kept alive because he has the secrets of Ulduar. He could help you crack the code and get into Ulduar and all that stuff. And then you kind of leave him behind, and then you move on. And in Cataclysm, in Vashir, he's called Legionnaire Nazgrim. He's been promoted, and you spend time with him. He's quite an integral quest giver there in Vashir, and you help him and the others escape, and you help save the Plane of Water. He's even a quest giver in the actual Plane of Water dungeon, the Throne of Tides. He's the quest giver there for the Horde. So, you think, okay, that could be the end of it. No, Mr. Pandara, he becomes a chief character, one of the most important characters. He's on the Zeppelin that you crash land on. He's one of the biggest quest givers throughout your time in Pandaria. And then he sticks with Garrosh and becomes a boss, and that's where his story ends. And if you're a Horde member, he talks about all the times you've spent together, all the things you've learnt. And if you had gone through the lore and seen that, you would have actually recognized, as I did, oh god, I have to kill a character that I've been an ally of for so long. He's been a good character, he's been loyal, he's been cunning, he's been brilliant, and now I have to kill him. And that made the whole thing much more enjoyable. So those are a couple of examples of how lore and story can make the game so much better. All you have to do to get into this whole world is just make an alt, take your time, get steeped in the lore, learn about things, and enjoy yourself. And when you step through the portal into Warlords of Draenor, you'll notice there are going to be characters there that you didn't expect. And I say that not because I know, but because I can probably guess that. Because that's how Blizzard does things. And it is a great way of doing things. And so many people don't catch it. And if you can catch it, and if you can see, holy hell, this is a character that I helped here, or this is a character that appeared here and got away. If you see all that, then you will love WoW a lot more than you currently do. So that's it for this episode of Tuskeh Talks. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, especially about lore, I could talk about lore forever, then you can contact me using the links in the description below, or you can just leave a comment. I'm more than happy to natter about things. I'm always after feedback, so let me know what you think. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck with your time in the World of Warcraft.